These commandments that I give you today are to be on your hearts. Impress them on your children. Talk about them when you sit at home and when you walk along the road, when you lie down and when you get up. Tie them as symbols on your hands and bind them on your foreheads. Write them on the doorframes of your houses and on your gates. Deuteronomy 6, verses 6 through 9. Habits are cultivated through intentional repetition, and liturgies are the church's way of communally building habits. Today, faith communities use liturgy primarily in corporate worship as a work of the people, giving structure and rhythm to times of gathering together to celebrate the promises of our Creator. Habits require some level of work and commitment. And while communal worship finds its rhythms easily by engaging amongst brothers and sisters, sometimes illuminating our individual worship is more difficult. Refreshing personal daily habits by revitalizing ancient habits, like Lectio Divina, can deepen understanding of liturgies, of spiritual practices in various aspects of life. When our lives are full, making intentional space for faith work can be especially challenging. This is where the significance of leaning on the liturgies and habits passed down through generations can be especially useful. As a practice, Lectio Divina is purposeful about cultivating space to bring fresh insight to Scripture by refined traditions, and drawing from traditions rather than creating new methods relieves the burden of the work. The beauty of Lectio Divina, or divine reading, stems from the practice's ability to accommodate multiple time frames and spaces. At its core, this practice cultivates an intentional space for reading Scripture. It also opens space for conversation with God through the prominence of words and phrases. By taking in the slow process of Lectio Divina, Scripture is allowed to resonate, to linger, and take root. When we engage the Bible in this way regularly, we feel more grounded, not only with Scripture, but also in our surroundings because of the intentionality of presence. Words like illuminate, refresh, or shimmer are commonly used to describe the Spirit's presence within the pages of Scripture. Lectio Divina is a way for old phrases to catch new light. As an individual or communal practice, Lectio Divina has a richness that bleeds into the musings of both theologians and the passionate insights spoken to a friend over generations. When we engage in this spiritual discipline, we join the conversation and community of countless believers throughout time. As the Spirit spoke to them, it speaks to us now. So, how does one take a tradition and apply it? The recipe may seem complex, but the beauty of tradition is the already constructed practices that guide us as we set about cultivating a new habit. All that is left to be done is simply follow. To begin a time of Lectio Divina is to create a comfortable environment. With a candle burning, warm and fragrant, or pillows as support, sit in a quiet place and become centered through tangible surroundings. Perhaps come prepared to work with a pen, Bible, and journal. Then simply read. Let the words of a chosen passage flow into the space. Notice the words that shimmer, that stand out. Listen for how God is speaking. Spend time in the presence of God, discovering the purpose and depth of these words. Now, it's time to do some of the work as a means of conversation with God. Dwell with the Spirit as it leads, following the paths even as they diverge into briars and rabbit holes. And finally, rest in the words and the discoveries revealed. When people work together, beauty is made. God speaks, and the whole of creation listens. This guided prayer meditation is presented to you by Alabaster. Learn more at alabasterco.com.